All right,
Cool.
let's get to the top six because we got Scott coming in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, so our top six Anthrax songs. This was pretty interesting. This is pretty hard because Anthrax has a big catalog, two different eras with two different singers. So it was not easy, but I knocked mine out pretty quick last night just to get something in. So who goes first?
I'll go first. My number six off the second record, Armed and Dangerous. So good. This could have easily been in like my top two, but I'm putting it at number six.
Yeah, I had that originally in mind, Jim. I'm just going to say right from the top, this is the only song from Among the Living on my list, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because if you're putting Indians on and Caught, you got to put Caught in the Mosh in, and so that's 2 picks out of 6. That's a third of my picks. I couldn't do it. I had to wipe that. They canceled each other out, and if I was going to a deserted island and I only had 6 songs to pick, I would pick A Skeleton in the Closet. I love the lyrics, and Charlie's drumming is completely insane on that song. So that's my number 6, and don't yell at me for not putting Caught in a Mosh and Indians on my list. I'm just telling you now, they ain't there.
Who's going to yell at you? Nobody cares. Nobody does.
And I don't have either.
Even Scott would. I don't either.
All right,
Go ahead,
my
Ed.
number
Ed,
my
Ed,
number
Ed,
6.
there's a flow to this. There's a flow to this, Ed.
My
There's a flow
number
to
s-
this.
Look, all of a sudden
Why is
his
it?
audio.
Why is it
all of
10
a
minutes
sudden his
between me
audio-
and you every time?
All of a sudden his audio works. He's all like puffed out chest, all arrogant. Let's keep it moving. Listen, 22 shows we had to stop down because of his bad audio. Now he's all like, look at me, big maca. Number 6 for me, AIR from Spreading the Disease. Love the album, love the song, and it brings back such great memories for me because as a kid, when Anthrax were kids and I was a kid, I would go see them play at places like Lemoore when this record was out, and they always open with this song, the camouflage amps, the da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, just still brings me back to being that kid again. So that's my number 6.
All right, my number 5 going to the Worship Music album, In the End. Fucking epic song. Could have taken Fight 'Em Till You Can't or A Devil You Know off of this one, but I love this song. It's a great comeback album with them, with Joey back in the band. So In the End is my number 5.
All right, my number 5, also from that album, Fight 'Em Till You Can't. I mean, it's just a objectively great song anyway, the studio version. But I just remember when they played at Yankee Stadium for the Big Four, and they came out and they opened with this, and it was just like, damn, it just fit in so perfectly into the set with all the other classic songs, and to come out and open with this, and it really crushed, and Joey sang it great. It's got everything. It's got the very, obviously the typical thrash Anthrax beat to it, but it's got lots of harmony and melody to it. So that's my number 5.
So I'm next. That means Don.
Yeah, let's go. Pick the pace a little.
So my number 5 is same song.
Larry
Fight 'Em Till You
Lag.
Can't.
Larry Lag time.
Worship music is maybe among my favorite top 3 Anthrax albums overall. As like Jim said, amazing comeback record with Joey back in the band. Incredible record top to bottom. And Fight 'Em, I was really torn with The Devil You Know. I mean, there's so much on this record. But again, we can only do 6. So of at least between those 2 songs, by a hair, I gave it to Fight 'Em.
All right, my number 4 is Eddie's number 5, I think it was, or number 6, AIR, off unbelievable record. This is the first record I heard. This is the first Anthrax record I heard. Then I went back and listened to the first one, Fistful of Metal. But that's when they got on my radar with this record. So this was amazing. But that's my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is from their most recent studio album, and Monster in the End. And any moment that should come up.
It's a problem with the
Monster-
flow.
Yeah, that's not my fault. Monster at the end. Obviously, I think we're gonna. All three of us will have a lot of the more modern Anthrax stuff represented. And I didn't want to leave this album out because a lot of people were like, "Well, how are you going to follow up worship music?" And I think For All Kings as a whole is pretty much up there, and this song is a killer on there. So that's my number 4. Brutal. Brutal.
For me, my first. You don't like Only?
No, the lag. Your Larry lag.
What do you mean? I was right there.
No.
I almost stepped on you. I was right there. What's wrong with what are you talking about?
Go ahead.
My number 4 is Only, the first song from the Bush era. I love stuff from these records as well. I mean, there's so many songs from John's era. Fueled comes to mind. Inside Out comes to mind. There's so many, but Only was the first we heard with John on vocals. It was the first of that big change that happened with that album, Sound of White Noise, which is also a great record. And interestingly, it's the only song from the Bush era that they still do with Joey in the band. So Only is my number 4.
My number 3 is Eddie's number 4, and whatever he said, I say. Don?
My number 3 is also from that album, but it's a different song, Black Lodge.
Why'd you take so long to say it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an epic song. You just can't, blurt it out there. It's, it kind of reminds me of Ride the Lightning or Watch the Children Pray, that kind of thing, where it's, it's sort of ballady, but then it kicks in and rocks after a while. And, you don't think of a lot of times Anthrax writing these big epic tunes, but this is certainly one of them. And John's vocal performance is out of this world. So Black Lodge at number 3. Go ahead, Ed.
I think if I remember Black Lodge, I think it had something to do with that TV show Twin Peaks, that there was a storyline behind it. And the guy who scored Twin Peaks did the scoring on that song, if I recall. My number 3, Jim. Whoa, something just happened on my screen.
We're starting soon.
There was a lag. So my number 3 is Jim had this earlier, and this is a modern day classic. It is a tremendous album. It is a song that I think forever has to be in the Anthrax set list. It is a nod and a tribute to people like Dime and Ronnie James Dio, and now Vinny as well. But it's in the end, if you don't know this, listen to it immediately. It is just a monster song, brilliant song, and an absolute classic at number 3.
My number 2 is the title track off the third record, Among the Living. The song Among the Living starts off this record. This record from first track to last is a fucking classic. I love this. So that's my number 2, Among the Living.
My number 2 is, we've all put this on our list. It's what everybody has said about it. 6 minutes and 47 seconds of greatness. And again, another epic Anthrax song. And could have easily been my number 1, but there it is at number 2.
It was close to being my number 1. It really was. And it's, it's just so great. I mean, how many bands can you talk about that have been around 40 years or whatever, where a record from the last 10 years has a song on it that is on all 3 of our lists? And again, for newer listeners, viewers, we don't know what's on each other's lists until we do this. Number 2, somebody had this earlier, the song Armed and Dangerous. So that's the EP. That's the cover of the EP there. There's a re-recorded version of it on Spreading the Disease as well. So it's on 2 different records. Both versions great. The reason why I love this song so much is this song was not only my gateway to getting on board with Anthrax, but it was my gateway to getting on board with thrash in general. Because up to this point, a lot of the early thrash that I had heard, there wasn't a lot of melody, there wasn't great singing, and that's the stuff I love in hard rock. And I will never forget the late, great Johnny Z saying to me, giving me that EP that's right there and saying, you're going to like this now. Because I had known Fistful of Metal, but he gave me that. I heard Joey singing. I heard that intro, and then I heard it kick into the heaviness, and I was all in. And that was game-changing moment for me in terms of listening to heavier music, to hear a song like that with vocals like that from Joey, who was brand new at the time. Just awesome. So very important song for me for a lot of reasons at number 2.
All right, my number 1 is back off the Among the Living record, I Am the Law. I just love this song. It's freaking, I don't know. I mean, this is definitely my favorite Anthrax record. I love when they do this live. So yeah, that's my number 1. That's all I got to say.
All right, my number 1 is Eddie's number 3.
Oh, wow.
And my number
Yeah.
2.
Listen, I could have picked 6 songs off of this album. That's how much I love Sound of White Noise. Easily a top 3 Anthrax album for me. But this song, I mean, Eddie, you said it before. It's a song that, well, you know, while Joey had been hesitant after he returned to the band to sing anything from this era, he does sing this song. I mean, that's how goddamn good it is. And that starting out with that wall of guitars at the top, and it's phenomenal. To me, number 1 in the Anthrax catalog only.
All right. So my number 1, Jim, we got the same one.
Wow.
I Am the Law from Among the Living. I could have went in a million directions with Among the Living. Obviously, it's widely regarded as the classic Anthrax album. And there's just so many different songs I could have picked from that. Obviously, the title track, Indians, Caught in a Mosh. There's just so many. But I Am the Law is, it's everything, because it's got that big, crunchy, giant opening riff. And then it builds, and then the drums come in, and then, it grooves for a while, but then it has that total tempo change where it goes into the speed metal thing and then goes back. It's just, I don't know, it's just that song just in a lot of ways encapsulates everything about Anthrax. It's got melody, it's got the Sabbathy sort of riff, but then it's got the super fast part. It was so hard because any of these 6 songs I could have put at number 1. There's songs that aren't even in the 6 that I probably could have number 1 if I really thought about it. But I just went with I Am the Law and I remember working at Megaforce and working for the label and working with the band at that time back then. There was Johnny Z had a giant poster, like floor to ceiling poster of the I Am the Law single cover that I looked at every day when I came into work. And the song lives up to that poster. So that's my number 1.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip. If you liked it, here are a few more you might like. And if you want to support the show, consider hitting the join button and becoming a channel member to unlock exclusive bonus content.